The influence that I picked, and like Ma, there's always a lot, but the person that came to mind was Christian Drake, who is a spoken word poet in the Bay Area, and I want to say like in Seattle now. I feel like this bio that I'm going to give is like full of half-truths, so definitely do your own research on this person too, as well as see some of his poetry as well. But he's really great. My first exposure to him when I was a judge for the Individual World Poetry Slam, which is not because I was super awesome. It was because I was there and volunteered, and they really desperately needed people. And I got to see him perform and was really excited by what he was doing, and I liked how right now what's relevant for me with his performances is he talks a lot about reminding us as humans that we still are connected to the earth and we still are animals and what that means. And he has a poem called Dear Jane, which is in the persona of Tarzan, and really having that conversation also through the poem that I'm going to share, having a similar conversation. He majored in botany or some study of plants at his university, and really connects to that in a different way too. So I'm very interested in that, especially because of a project that I'm working on that I'll tell you after I read a poem of his. But this poem of his that I'm gonna read to you is called For Tatiana. And Tatiana was a Siberian tiger who escaped from her cage in the zoo when she was being taunted by two teenage boys, and she mauled the teenagers, killing one of them, and the other one escaped. And so he actually wrote this poem for the tiger. For Tatiana. There is another paradise, not found in any Bible, where the lion never lies down with the lamb, and life is written with blood on grass, and rabbits caught in tigers' jaws praise their destroyers, and are eaten, and are resurrected. And I hope you were there. You were born to be defiant, because the opposite of white is orange, and you were meant to be fire on the snow, smokeless except for plumes of hungry breath, floating through the forest like a ghost with deep footprints, your shoulders reciting the curves of the mountains, black stripes falling perfectly between the saplings. They never fit the bars of your cage the same way. The boys stood on the walls of your enclosure, taunting you, drunk on vodka and immortality, the kind you feel when you're behind a gun. Maybe they thought you weren't a real tiger, or that you were already extinct, or maybe it was some defect of our monkey nature, but you, whose mind was a map of endless Siberia, whose alphabet was written in antlers and claws, you escaped the shoebox cage we made for you and showed them the real tiger. Not the one cataloged in our museums as beautiful but doomed, but the orange butterfly made of raw meat, craving more raw meat, born with the unfairness of the world was more even. I'm afraid of the year we no longer fear anything. The year the last polar bear dies in the circus, and we eat the last man-eating shark in a bowl of soup, and the jungle surrenders to the circuitry of cornfields. We were wiser when we had more gods. We used to sacrifice sheep. Now ranchers shoot wolves from helicopters to protect their profits, but once we kill all our monsters, we'll be the only monsters left. There must be a place on earth for dangerous creatures, because whatever we tame, we destroy. And if we have nothing left to fear, there will be nothing to stop us. But sometimes the lapdog bites its master. Sometimes the tiger mauls the magician, reminds us we are still meat, that our souls do not excuse us from the earth. The swipe of a claw baptizes us in our own blood, makes us animal again, welcomes us home to this planet that never imagined cages. There is a second paradise, where we have no dominion, where fear and love are the same word and it means amazement. I hope you are there, Tatiana, in that cruel place, the heaven of the way the world once was, stalking your prey in perfect silence, your orange soul a distant fire in the white fog of San Francisco. I don't know whether to say thanks, it's not my poem, but I appreciate that you like similar things that I like. So this next poem is written under the influence of that poem in particular, but also his other work. And I said right now it's particularly interesting to me because a project I'm working on in that project is writing a book full of persona poems through the point of view of different elephants. And it'll probably be me and like my mom who's interested in that, who's here right now. So really happy that she's here. But anyway, so I kind of was taking that poem as inspiration for writing another one of the elephant personas that I'm working on. So here's a draft of that. And because Tatiana was for the tiger that mauled the teenagers, there, at the end of May, there was a story about an elephant in Zimbabwe that trampled a poacher. And so this poem is for that elephant, but also through the point of view of that elephant. So, untitled now. Also, my background is spoken word and it's very interactive, so if you like anything or want to respond to anything, if you want to snap or make a noise or give a or a stomp or whatever comes to you, that's very much appreciated, and whatever love you give to me, I'm going to give right back. So feel free to also make some noise if you want to at any point. You didn't come for me in the savannah. I did not see your gun eclipsed in the red and trembling sun. You did not cross a river or a desert or a lion or tread across the grass my ancestors were born in. You stalk me through a park, the orphanage enclosure this has become. Do you think I forgot what brought me here? How I first came to meet a fence? Do you think I forgot how fingers looked bent around a trigger? I couldn't be so lucky, cursed with a god's memory. Some nights I still wake in fits, remembering the taste of blood when I tried to suck milk from my mother hours after the flies got to her. They didn't stop at her tusks. More came, took her meat, hacked off great pieces until she was only skin, a deflated mountain rustling with the leaves. How noble for you to return for me, with the same fire and metal, but now my back against a cage. I know what you're here for, what you steal from bodies like mine, but you have made a fatal mistake. My tusks were not forged for ornament to dangle delicate on a thin branch of collarbone in slivers or to stack the status of animals with no teeth of their own. My tusks are too heavy for you to hold whole. They do not fit in hands that no longer touch what they kill. Tusks are for warriors. There is no honor in weapons you were not born with. My tusks are made for this. My tusks are meant for digging, upturning the soil for the roots we chew, and scraping bark from trees like peeling fruit. Our tusks are for harvest. We bring the seasons with our bones, the color of moon. My tusks are made for moving. When my baby brother couldn't stand, we carried him on our tusks like tireless trunks. And sometimes, tusks are made for this. When a tiger, a hyena, or worse, threatens an elephant, threatens family, my tusks are so much more than the pounds you sell them by. They are thunder and stone monsoon, flooding your abdomen with the heat of the longest dry season. They are ancient as mammoth and timeless as rock, arched in triumphant trumpet, ivory arms stretching to the sun. They are the bones stripped of flesh so they can find home in your skin. They are your last vision. They are your destiny. They are justice. They will till the soil of your body till your blood kisses the ground you slaughtered my family on. We elephants do not bury our dead. Our graveyards are in the grass, not under it. We walk with our family's bones. But yours do not belong next to my mother's. I will trample yours to dust, because you do not deserve memory, and no one can visit the wind. I will trample your body until it is as flat as the eviscerated and tuskless corpses our babies learn to walk around. I will stomp and stamp and rampage until even we forget. Thanks. So I have one more poem for you. Sorry, thanks for watching me drink water right there. And it's also similarly inspired. It's not a persona poem through the point of an elephant, but it is also about elephants. So I know I'm delivering exactly what you all want, more elephant poems. I heard your requests, I met them, so you're welcome, is all I'm gonna say. And so, yes, thank you. Any of that, that's all good, much appreciated. And this next one, I mentioned elephant graveyards at the very end, and that's kind of the starting point of this next poem. And then I'll also kind of take you back home by the end, hopefully. So here's another one of those. Yeah. Elephant graveyards are not an invention of Lion King. Elephants gather their bones and bring them to one place so they can mourn, run their trunks over skulls like fingers over a lover's face, read the pieces of the dead like headstones. When they migrate, they return to these memorials and remember. To elephants, ivory is the urn for the spirits of their ancestors. One of the most common things to be carved out of ivory is an elephant. There's something ironic about slaughtering a species so you can resurrect them through sculptures made from their own skeletons, replacing 10,000 pounds of charge and trumpet with caricatures collecting dust, death marching frozen across mahogany mantles. Long before they occupied store shelves, they occupied our tapestries, our altars, and the space behind our eyelids. Their strength, intelligence, and empathy belong to nothing less than gods. When we chop up the sacred for its shiniest parts, there'll be nothing left to save our own teeth from being strung up on necklaces or prevent our skin from hanging off of someone else's shoulders. It is unsafe to walk this earth with a skeleton of jewels inside a body someone wants to own. Do you know how hard it is to fell the brother of a mammoth, to kill something that has survived the Ice Age? Do you know how many men it takes, how much poison per dart? It is not one-shot target practice, a quick buck death. It is a gang and as many weapons they can hold sharp enough to dig into inch-thick skin and a commitment to watching the life leak out of the largest body this land carries. It is a slow and careful murder, so we can wear ivory buttons and earrings unstained by ancient blood. It helps us forget the part of ourselves that would rather mount an animal kingdom on the wall than let them roam the earth they never thought to own. An elephant falls like a severed redwood, history wrinkled into its flesh like tree rings. It is not a coincidence these creatures have trunks. The dying breath of an elephant sounds like a nail sliding through the last butterfly's wing. An elephant never forgets. So what happens when we murder our memory, blast through cave paintings to mine for diamonds, scatter the remains of Pompeii's citizens into the wind for the obsidian under their bodies, scrub at our nastiest history until it gleams like ivory, an elephant falls like the libraries of Alexandria burning? In January, poachers killed a record number of elephants at once. A family of 12. How many deaths will it take for us to see our own reflection, our suicide and their extinction? 40,000 elephants killed a year and climbing. When a dead elephant hits the ground, does it sound like a piano, beautiful enough to inspire such cruel dentistry? Ivory key pianos are almost extinct in this country, but elephants still sing in our circuses and shine like expensive jewelry in our zoos and county fairs. They still fall like forests. You cannot excavate a graveyard without uprooting ghosts. As long as we pretend these tusks are separate from our own skeletons, we will be haunted by the footsteps that flattened the savannah, because these possessed bones, these remnants from slaughter, will always remember their way home. Thank you so much.